So how many times have you entered a trade and you've been dragged along for such a long period of time with that trade that by the time that trade actually goes according to plan, you just actually want to get out, either lock in profits and you're just up a very small amount, or you just want to break even and you're just so exhausted of that trade. This is something that I encounter, believe it or not, on probably a weekly basis. People think that as you begin to trade and time after time, that it's just going to be perfect, and it's never perfect, right? The market's always changing and it always presents new challenges. This is something that, is supposed to keep you on edge, but also makes it still somewhat very exciting. I wanted to share not just all of the good, but also share some of the challenges that I encounter as a trading. I hope that this video is of value for you, as it was for our LPP team. So I thought I would share it to all of you guys here on YouTube. Let me show you an example of exactly what I'm talking about. As you guys could see on my screen, this is SQQQ, and this is a trade that I actually took yesterday. And I thought it was a perfect example for this. So I saw potential for the NASDAQ market to sell off. And when the NASDAQ market sells off, as you can see back here, right, it sells off. SQQQ is the inverse. So SQQQ goes up when the NASDAQ market goes down. I saw that the NASDAQ market, let me show you very quickly, was approaching based off of previous patterns. So this was yesterday, right? So based off of previous patterns, we were showing signs of a resistance on QQQ, meaning that we were overbought, we were testing a previous resistance range, and I saw the possibility for this thing to get rejected. So I opened a position in SQQQ because SQQQ goes up when the NASDAQ market goes down. And as you see, my trade plan went according to plan. It literally was as perfect as it could be, right? We indicated signs of an uptrend. If you're part of our LPP team, you know the 3 stages of a reversal, rejection, consolidation, and then confirmation. And based off of previous highs, $18, got rejected at $18. Perfect, right? That was a perfect trade. If you guys look at the overall potential, nearly 7%. For me, that's very, very impressive. But guess what? Where did I sell? Did I sell at 18.12 or maybe 18? Nope. I sold at, my initial sell was at 17.40, and then my last sell was 17.58. Not bad, but I missed out on half of the trade, right? Why? Well, again, I decided to jump in early, right? I took a position, and if my position is light, meaning that a fraction of what I normally trade with, we talk about position size a lot with our LPP team, and what I mean by that is pretty much how much money you put based off of what you can put based off of your trading account size. So let's say you trade with $1,000 and you go in with $50, right? At that point, you're trading with 5% of your trading account. If I trade with $100,000 and then go with $5,000, it's still 5%, right? If I trade with $1 million, then go in with $50,000, still 5%. The whole point is, if direction is not favorable yet, I probably don't want to step on the gas, not just because direction isn't favorable, but because what I've experienced, it is mentally draining. And this is what this whole video is about. I enter the position. It begins to kind of fake me out, right? It begins to try to indicate signs of an uptrend, indicate signs of an uptrend, indicate signs of an uptrend. So I begin to add more and add more and add more. And I started off very light in SQQQ. But by the time that this thing actually was indicating signs of an uptrend, or trying to, and then it sold off again, you have to think the emotional roller coaster. It's going in my favor. This is kind of like my break even around 17.20, and then it goes red, and then it goes green, and then it goes red, and then it goes green, and then it goes red. And then at that point, I'm just like, should I cut losses? You have to think. It's very easy to look back and be like, look, it was so easy, right? No. But the mental warfare that I'm playing with myself, and let's be honest, let's talk about it. The resistance that we hit, I'm exposing myself to this risk. I didn't have to enter a position when there was no active uptrend. And that's what this whole video is about, is to talk about what we can do better. And that's exactly what I wrote down in my trading journal, is I need to get better in either staying cash, meaning not having an open position if direction is not favorable and if it's not an active uptrend, or having a light enough position that I'm not affected by this roller coaster of emotions, right? As the trade struggles to identify its direction. It's not the market's fault. The market doesn't care about me. I'm irrelevant to the market. Same thing with you, right? So why make it all about us, right? Why not make it easier for ourselves and literally simply wait for confirmation of direction? It's so simple, yet it's so complicated or so challenging, because it's the simple things in life that people overcomplicate. So what are some steps that I can take to get better at this? Well, first, instead of staying even light in a position, I can just choose to stay cash. I can try to be so disciplined that if it is not an active uptrend forming higher highs and higher lows, meeting all of my criteria, I don't open the trade. Remember, we have this very simple saying: I would rather be late to a rally than early to a sell-off, because we don't know, right? This position didn't have to actually recover, as no trade ever has to go exactly according to plan. But when it did, you have to think, I was put through this emotional roller coaster, so you could imagine that, again, every candle represents 1 minute. So after 3 hours of this, by the time it was actually indicating signs of an uptrend, I'm just like, I'm over this already, man. I'm over this. I don't want to be in this anymore. And I put myself in that position. And it's because of getting in early, being emotionally dragged, mentally dragged for about 3 hours. And then finally, when it goes according to plan, then I'm just like, I've had enough. I just want to get out. But then this is when the actual trade should be taking place, right? When everything is aligning. Yet I am so frustrated and mentally drained that I put myself in a position to already be exhausted. So this is where, again, we talk about it pays to be patient. So when people begin to ask you, how can we get better? I feel like a lot of the things that we can implement to get better is not by doing more, but it's actually by probably doing less, being more selective, waiting for more confirmation. Instead of looking at the 1 minute time frame, just like this, maybe looking at the 5 minute or the 10 minute, waiting more for proper indication of an uptrend. Remember, I would rather be late to a rally than early to a sell-off. Think about it. I thought I would share my thoughts with you guys because it's just a very, I would say, different thing to talk about, because it talks about the idea of being exhausted by being dragged along an open position when the trade plan itself, the trade plan made sense. My risk to reward ratios all made sense, but I just entered too early that I simply exhausted myself. And it was because of that I truly didn't put myself in a position to succeed, right? And again, we want to control the conditions that we expose ourselves to. And I thought this would be a great thing to talk about, especially for absolute beginners. Again, these concepts and thought processes are something that we talk about almost on a daily basis with the LPP team. I trade live every single morning. If you've never had the chance to watch me trade live, I'd love for you to get a taste of what the LPP team gets to experience every single day. Feel free to check it out. It's the second link in the description down below. It is a one-time payment, lifetime access, and yes, you'll get access to watching me trade live every single day. If you have any questions before signing up, feel free to send me a direct message via Discord or via Instagram, and that's the first or third link in the description down below. I do use the Webull trading application to trade myself. You don't have to, but if you want to download it, it's the fifth link in the description down below. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.